implement 2 commercial-scale CCS projects. We are a province of only 4 million people. $1.2 billion equates to over $300 for every man, woman, and child in our province. No one else in the world is investing in carbon capture and storage on that scale. And when those projects are up and running, they will lower greenhouse gas emissions by 2.76 million tons per year. And one of them, the Quest project, will be the first to take emissions actually from an oil sands upgrader and store them more than 1 mile underground in the earth. And so Alberta is investing more than $700 million in that particular project. And earlier today, people are interested in this. Earlier today, I attended a briefing of the U.S. Department of Energy, along with Shell, who apprised me of their upcoming collaboration on this very Quest project, which is located in Alberta, and how they will be working together, because knowledge sharing is an important part of what we must do together as North Americans. If we are serious about sustainability, partnerships like this will continue to be essential and will continue to be the focus of what our government is doing in Alberta. Because at the end of the day, greenhouse gas emissions do not respect borders. Climate change is a global issue, and no one can afford to approach the problem in isolation. Now, I've long been, I think those of you who know me appreciate this, I have long been an advocate of harmonized North American standards when it comes to the environment, and certainly when it comes to industrial emissions. And Alberta intends to be a participant in any such approach. It would certainly would provide certainty for businesses and ensure our North American competitiveness, ensure that we lead the world rather than follow the world. We are to harmonize standards and protect our competitiveness on both sides of the globe. North Americans would have the advantage of knowing what's expected of them as they attempt to conform to evolving rules. And we know that our competitiveness would be protected on both sides of the Canada-US border. And it would be better for the environment because it would expedite compliance, it would expedite environmental performance in both the United States and in Canada. I know this because I witnessed how our respective countries can do business together and can achieve environmental outcomes together. When I was Canada's Minister of the Environment, I worked together with the Obama administration as Canada's negotiator. We arrived at the motor vehicle emission standards, motor vehicles which have been implemented on both sides of the border. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, which remain to this day as the single most effective thing that has been done to reduce carbon emissions on both sides of the Canada-US border. And so we did that together. Now, unfortunately, this trend towards greater cooperation across provincial, state, and national boundaries is actually waning on the environmental front, as opposed to expanding. And fragmentation is replacing the unity of purpose that we are going to need to have to achieve environmental objectives. You know, in some U.S. jurisdictions, we're seeing specific policy proposals that are designed to exclude Canadian oil from the U.S. market, while giving a free pass to comparable oil from other countries such as Venezuela, or domestic products that have the same characteristics as the Canadian oil. And opposition, most assuredly, has crystallized around infrastructure projects, such as pipelines, that are essential, that will be essential if we're going to move energy safely to markets where it is needed across the continent. And so frankly, I say to you, we're actually headed for the worst of all worlds. A proliferation of subnational standards, of diverse standards, that apply to some kinds of oil, but not others. That apply to some kinds of energy, but not others. That apply to some forms of transportation, but not others. That apply to some pipelines, but not others. My friends, this is distinctly not the genius of free trade at work. And having served as Canada's Environment Minister, I can testify to the utility of broader measures and the necessity of getting things done together. was in cabinet, I also led the creation of what is today Canada's thermal coal policy, the phase out of burning thermal coal, because if you are concerned about carbon emissions, you must surely be concerned about coal, since that is where 40% of the carbon in the atmosphere actually came from that was man-made. And those policies are, of course, being followed today here in the United States. And inspired by Teddy Roosevelt, our country's national park system was expanded by almost 1/3 in the time that I was Canada's Minister of the Environment. And so in that role, I learned of the urgency of establishing common ground on the environment as we have on the economy. And you know, I represented Canada at Copenhagen. I worked together with our American colleagues. I have scars to prove my attendance at the Copenhagen conference. And discord there only harmed Canada and the United States. And frankly, it sold our achievements short. And it needs to be said that although this was impossible to imagine at Copenhagen, the country that has achieved the greatest environmental achievement in the time since Copenhagen was in fact the United States, something that was completely unanticipated at the time of Copenhagen. So, as I come to a close then, I see it, I suppose, in this way. There are three goals that Canada and the United States should pursue in order to take advantage of this so-called triple opportunity that I've described, free trade and integrated energy markets. Firstly,